sober, and wandering eyes aren't meant for me.
Welcome to Bull City Pro Episode 2. Hi, my name is Bobby Lucas. Y'all know me as Big Country, CEO of BCM Triple X. But today I'm Bobby Lucas, the wrestling fan. And what we're going to talk about today? Well, today we're going to talk about America's Most Liked Wrestling. Their two YouTube matches, which was released this week. As well as a review of CWF Mid-Atlantic Worldwide for this week, as well as the North Carolina Independent Wrestling match of the week. Okay? Also, in later episodes, you will hear me talk about NXT, which I will probably be doing later on today once I watch their show, as well as Raw. I would do that on Tuesdays, discussing what happened on Raw and my opinions upon that and everything. And on Sundays, I will be discussing the Ring of Honor show, which we see. Like I said, for all you people that are wrestling fans, for North Carolina, please get your ticket November 21st for WrestleCade. WrestleCade will take place at Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Go to WrestleCade.com for you to get your tickets and see what's going on. Also, check out AML that's usually be touring around the Triad area, and mostly their home is at John and June's Bar and Grill, which I think that's what it is, in Winston-Salem. Also check out CWF27.com for all your news and notes and upcoming events for CWF Mid-Atlantic. Now, let us begin with AML, the first match which I watched this week, which was Peter Kaasa versus Sonjay Dutt. Which also is a nominee for Match of the Week. Sonjay Dutt, if you're a wrestling fan, you know who he is. He's probably one of the best, most underrated junior heavyweights in the business. Crazy how he's not, or have yet, to win a major title in that division. Well, in this match, he faces off against a newbie who I've never seen before called Peter Kaasa, who will, because of his body size, body makeup, and everything, he kind of will throw you off because you would think that he's more of a power guy, but this guy can actually move. Very good match back and forth. Of course, the match ended with Peter Kaasa winning with a awesome maneuver. The best way I can explain it was a T-bone suplex turned into a powerbomb. Plus, it was a contrast of styles because you would think that Peter Kaasa, being the big, bulky, stocky dude, that he's going to do a lot of power moves. No, he did a lot of high-flying maneuvers, pretty much going toe-to-toe with Sonjay Dutt. So it was a great match. I loved it, every bit of it. So my grade for that match is a 5. When I grade matches, it's going to be from 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. I don't believe in doing the 1 to 10 because that's just too much. Okay. The next match after that I watched was the match 3 in the best of 5 series to decide the number 1 contender between King Shane Williams and Vordell Walker. Vordell Walker, who is currently the NWA Elite Heavyweight Champion. And plus, King Shane Williams, you've seen him on TCU, Traditional Championship Wrestling, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, NWA Smoky Mountain, and other places. He's actually a mainstay in the Mid-Atlantic as well as the Tennessee area. The first 2 matches were classics. The first match, Shane Williams won via a power driver. In the second match, which was not televised, which was done in a house show, Vordell Walker won match 2 with a power driver, injuring Shane Williams' neck. So when you come into the show, Shane Williams is wearing a neck brace, symbolizing that he was injured, and he still wrestled. And like most heels, Vordell Walker went after his neck. And what I liked about the match, which was cool, was Shane Williams can act. He's a great seller. He knows how to sell, pain, hurt, injuries, the whole nine. Even to the point that when Vordell Walker took the neck brace off, he put the neck brace on. He put it back on in the middle of the match. I was like, really? And then, of course, Vordell Walker, after he got control of the match again, took the neck brace off and threw it out. Also, I like the dynamic that Shane Williams' valet gets involved in the match, not in the heel aspect, but more as the helpless damsel in distress, because Vordell Walker always makes it a point to interact with her and go after her. The match was very physical, like most matches you will see with Vordell Walker, because Vordell Walker is a smash mouth, ground and pound wrestler. But what's interesting is that Shane Williams went toe-to-toe with him. But the match ended with Vordell Walker getting a 2-1 advantage over Shane Williams by hitting him with another power driver. So I'm looking forward to match 4 to see what's going to happen. And that match, I think, might take place, at WrestleCade or another AML taping. That match to me was a 5. Hands down. AML does have some 5-star matches, and they do have some bullshit matches. So both of them, because they were so good, are nominees for Match of the Week. Okay? Now, let's move on to CWF Worldwide. Last night, very good match. Actually, they pulled off 4 matches in an hour. If you ever see CWF Mid-Atlantic, their show worldwide, I suggest, which the link will be in the description of this video, subscribe to their channel, take a look. If you like good, independent, professional wrestling, you will love CWF Mid-Atlantic. We start the night off with Lance Lude. I think Lance Lude went against, who did Lance Lude go against? Please forgive me if I forgot. Chris Lee. Lance Lude is, now, what's going on in these next 2 episodes, so you can understand, next 2 episodes of Worldwide. In Pro Wrestling International, their junior heavyweight division is called the Ultra J, okay? Which is their cruiserweight junior heavyweight division. This is for the smaller guys that can move a little bit better, the whole nine. The champion, who will be defending his Ultra J crown next week, is Ethan Case, who I love to death. If you haven't seen him, you need to check him out. His match where he defeated Lance Lude to become champion, match of the year. Match of the year. I'm sorry. The WWE has some good matches, but their matches compared to that one, there's no comparison, people. So, Chris Lee, who has been on somewhat of a losing streak for the last couple of months, went against Lance Lude, who was the former Ultra J champion, who also last year won the Battle Bowl, the winner of the Battle Bowl, which is their version of the Royal Rumble, gets a shot at any belt in Mid-Atlantic. So 2 weeks ago, he decided to cash it in against Marcellus King, who is currently the Mid-Atlantic heavyweight champion, and he lost. Well, this week he goes against Chris Lee in the Ultra J Showcase. Now, what's so crazy about this, Chris Lee's a high flyer, but in this match, he really wasn't high flying. He was more ground and pound, way more aggressive and physical than I've seen him in previous matches past. Of course, Lance Lude did his high flying maneuver. It was back and forth match, very good match. I gave it a 4, not a 5, but it was pretty good. And it's not a nominee. The match ended with Chris Lee finally ending his losing streak by defeating Lance Lude in a very good matchup with a schoolboy at that, basically outsmarting him. So, and at the end, of course, they did the honorable thing, they shook hands and everything else. So now you got Chris Lee, who is on a winning streak, and Lance Lude, who's on a losing streak. So it's going to be interesting how things play out with Lance Lude for the next couple of months, couple of weeks. Will he get back on his winning ways and eventually back to the Ultra Crown title, which he lost a year ago? We'll see. Next up after that was a match that's been months in the making. Now, for some of you people, it was between Smith Garrett who is currently the #1 contender and the Battle Bowl winner of this year, against Darius Lockhart. Now, this little beef been going on for months. What happened in a previous match, Smith Garrett got injured very bad. Serious neck injury, sidelined him for months. So, to keep him on TV, they had him as a commentator. And Darius Lockhart, a young, brash, black, African-American professional wrestler who is good, who actually also had a Match of the Year candidate with my favorite, Trevor Lee, has been talking a lot of trash to Smith Garrett. And of course, because Smith Garrett has not been cleared to wrestle, he can't do nothing about it. So finally, they finally have their match. This match was everything you wanted. Match of the night for CWF, as well as match of the week for Bull City Pro. The match was back and forth. You know, Darius Lockhart, this guy is a true future competitor, a guy that's definitely you're going to see in the future. He got a great future. It was a back and forth match. My favorite part was when Darius Lockhart finally went towards the end of the match when he was just talking junk. He was just talking a lot of trash, thought he had the match under control, and then Smith Garrett outsmarted him and rolled him up in a somewhat of a small package for a 1-2-3, which left Darius Lockhart, who sometimes really doesn't have a loss for words, lost for words. So that match to me was a 5. I didn't see too many botches. It was very clean, very competitive, you know, because I never really got a chance to see Smith Garrett wrestle before that moment, and I see why they're pushing him, you know. So that took care of that. Now, before that, after that match, we had the Rising League champion, Jesse Adler, versus one of my favorites, Roy Wilkins, who is a part of Team All-Star, who is ran by Coach Gemini, who on the mic is gold. You know, he's the great heel manager. I love him. He always comes to the ring wearing a jersey and a baseball cap and baseball socks, you know, period. One of my favorite characters on their group is Chappie, who happens to be, excuse my language, the bitch boy of the group, which later on in the night, another member of the group, the Kamikaze Kid, or Kazi, lost a match where if he won, Coach Gemini had to give up his whistle. If he lost, he had to join, you know, Team All-Star. He's a part of Team All-Star, so he obviously lost the match. Plus, previous to this match, in the Weaver Cup, Roy Atkins defeated Jesse Adler on his way to becoming the Weaver Cup champion. If you win it, you win the trophy, you get a shot at the Mid-Atlantic or any belt in the PWI that you want at any time. So we're going to stay tuned and see when he's going to cash that in. In this match, basically, if Roy Atkins defeats Jesse Adler, who is a high flyer, cannot use any high flying maneuvers for the rest of his time in, you know, CWF. But if he wins, Jesse Adler, he gets a match with Coach Gemini. So of course, at the beginning of the match, Coach Gemini comes out and tells him, if you win, just keep in mind I'm not a wrestler, but I will lie, I will cheat, and I steal. So basically telling him that, oh yeah, I'm going to be the dirtiest player in the game in that match. Don't be surprised if it gets a little dirty if we meet. So the match begins. You have the technical wizardry and wrestling expertise of Roy Atkins versus the high flying of Jesse Adler. Well, Jesse Adler defeated him. Very good, highly contested match, back and forth. Of course, Coach Gemini tried to interfere as much as possible. Towards the end of the match, when Jesse Adler was on the top rope, about to do a high-flying maneuver to win the match. Coach Gemini decided he wanted to get on the ring apron. The bodyguard, who just so happened to be a student at the CWF Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Academy, takes him off, takes him out, thus allowing Jesse Adler to nail a 5-star splash. Well, actually not a 5-star splash. God, I can't even think what the move was. It was a flippy dippy move off the top rope to defeat Roy Wilkins, thus getting a victory and revenge of Roy Wilkins. And now, at some point in time, he will meet Coach Gemini for a match between the two. I can't wait to see this, because the last time Coach Gemini was in the ring, he got power drive by somebody's wife. So you got to go, if you want to see that, you got to go on to their YouTube channel and, you know, go through their videos to see that match. Because I was wondering for the longest why he had a neck brace on. But Jesse Adler, now for some of you wondering who is the Rising League Championship, so I can help you with that. Rising League Championship is their division for wrestlers that have been in professional wrestling or wrestling for 3 years or less. So this is their opportunity to get shine, and the champion is the top wrestler out of that, you know, period. So he won that, and Roy Wilkins 10 years ago was champ of the Rising League. So like I said, it was a very good matchup. I gave it 5. You know, period. I definitely gave it a 5. After that, Ultimate Survivor. Now, Ultimate Survivor is a huge show that's coming up for CWF. This is their Survivor Series. The big match is their Cage of Death, which is a cage match, which involves a 3-man team or a 6-man tag match. So this segment was made for the Riot, which was a heel group brought together by Lee Valiant, which involves Eric Andrews, who was formerly of the Killbillies, Zane Dawson and his brother, Zane Dawson, who is the PWI World Heavyweight Champion, and his brother, Dave Dawson. Well, Lee Valiant, and at one point, Nick Richards, who I love this guy to death, hardcore wrestler, love him to death. Well, they supposed to be facing off. It's going to be Lee Valiant's team, which is the Riot, versus the team of the Mid-Atlantic Ace, Eric Royal, okay, who is the longest reigning Mid-Atlantic heavyweight champion in history. And he does good work. He's a great wrestler, love him to death. So basically what the segment entailed with them naming off their teams. The first drama was with Team The Riot. Lee Valiant, of course, was inconspicuous by his absence, and he sent Eric Andrews out to announce who the teams are going to be. So the third member, which they announced, happens to be Nick Richards. Now, Nick Richards has long pretty much left the Riot. He, in matches previous to this, Lee Valiant and Eric Andrews left him in the ring by himself to fend for himself. Like, they basically was not trying to deal with this guy. And then his longtime tag partner comes out to have his back. So there's been a lot of beef within the Riot between Lee Valiant, Andrew, and Eric Andrews and Nick Richards. So Nick Richards comes out and tells him, you know, basically he don't know if he want to do it, but he'll do it because he's always up for a fight. And of course, Andrews tells him, look, here's your opportunity to get in the ring, get in the cage, be a main event, blah, 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 and you owe us because we put your face out there. So he lets him know, I'll do it, but he's not going to do it wholeheartedly. I like that dynamic, because what's so cool about this is that you got a heel clique that has issues, and they're going into a cage match against their rivals. So you don't know whether Nick Richards is going to actually fall through with the Riot and help them win this match or eventually turn. I'm expecting a turn. That's just me. So out comes Eric Royal to discuss who his team is going to be, you know. So of course he picks his tag partner, good friend, the assassin Ray Kendricks. If you've never seen these two together, man, these are two of the most physically dominating and intimidating guys you will ever see, you know, period. So when he's about to name the third guy, Mitch Connor comes out. Now, some people wonder who the hell is Mitch Connor. Mitch Connor is a wrestler who 4 years ago had a match and a feud with Ray Kendricks. The final match was winner must quit wrestling and retire. Mitch Connor loses. So as a man, he stayed out of wrestling for 4 years. Recently, he came back to the sportatorium to say hello to the fans. And the Riot's Eric Andrews come out and attacks him and lays a beat down on him. So, of course, Mitch Connor wants in because he wants payback. But he needs Ray Kendrick to allow him to come back. So he comes out and he pleads his case to the sportatorium fan as well as Ray Kendrick, who just so happens not to be there, and says, I want one more time. I want to get back in the ring, I want a match, and I want to be a part of that Ultimate Survivor main event in the Cage of Death. So, of course, our Royal said, I got no issue with it, but the person got to talk to Ray Kendrick. So they got to go in the back and find out. Love the segment. Love the emotion that Mitch Connor brought to the table. Because you can see it really pains him to not be in the ring. And after the beatdown that he got from Eric Andrews, it pains him that he's not going to be in that main event. Now, here's my thing, though. I get that they're going to do the thing with Mitch Connor, but to me, it would have made more sense if Evan Banks, former tag team partner, now enemy of Eric Andrews, should have been the third man. Why? Eric Andrews injured him, put him out for a couple of months. Tag team, best friends, better enemy situation. I guess CWF want to save that feud for after this, so them two can have one-on-one matches and go at it. But to me, I feel that CWF Mid-Atlantic should allow Evan Banks to be the third man in that match. It would have, to me, would have blew the roof off the joint, because you would have had Evan Banks beelining towards Eric Andrews, and it's in the cage. And if you haven't seen the Killbillies, these are two of the most physically and bloodied, hardcore wrestlers that you're going to see. Mitch Connor, I haven't yet seen him. I'm going to actually today go take a look and see what he looks like in front of the ring. I'm pretty sure he's a physical, dominating guy. But because the beef between Eric Andrews and that of Evan Banks, and they both used to formerly be the Killbillies, come on, CWF. Come on. Brad Struts, come on. You know better than that. That was a good segment. I also wanted to say something about the commentating. I love the commentators of CWF Mid-Atlantic. Brad Struts, he sets it up for you he sets it up for you. He tells you the history. He tells you the beef. If you are the casual fan, you get caught up very quickly with the beefs that's going on in CWF Mid-Atlantic, and he tells you the history. So I love Brad Struts. I think he's a great commentator. I love it. Now we move on to the main event, which to me was going to be the match tonight, but I didn't know, which was for the television title. I love this guy, Chet Sterling. Why I love this guy? Because he's a good wrestler, too. He comes to the ring with 2 Chainz song, I'm Different, and got it on his tights. Hey, you got to respect a dude that like 2 Chainz. Who don't? Going against Team All-Stars, new bitch boy, Kamikaze Kid. The Kamikaze Kid is one of the most decorated wrestlers in CWF Mid-Atlantic. He has held every belt there is to held but one, the television title. Chet Sterling, on the other end, he's a dual champion. He's not only the tag champion, he's not only the television champion, he's also tag champions with Trevor Lee. They call themselves the Aftermath. The match that they had with the Dawson brothers, instant classic. I suggest you go to CWF Mid-Atlantic, their YouTube channel, and take a look at that match. Great matchup. Okay. He also had a great match against Brad Attitude, the former CWF Mid-Atlantic heavyweight champion. So I already knew this was going to be a classic. You know, Kamikaze Kid, since he has became a bigger man, doesn't high fly as much, but his wrestling skills are nowhere diminished. He's very physical, very strong. Plus, Chet Sterling is the king of selling. I mean, you think he died in the ring the way that he sells the match, you know. The match was a back and forth match, great match. Man, it was off the hook. Both men was going back and forth, beating each other up, taking it to each other. Kamikaze pretty much dominated the match. No surprise there because he's the elder statesman in the ring. And of course you got Coach Gemini out there blowing whistles and stuff like that. Let me tell you something. If you like the New Day, you'll love Coach Gemini. He is comedy. You know, period. The match was back and forth. It looked like Kamikaze had the match won. But for some apparent reason, instead of him going for the pin, he decides to go on the top rope to do a high-flying maneuver, which in turn backfired and set up Chet Sterling to get the win. Very good matchup. I loved it. I can't wait to see next week. Like I said, these next 2 weeks, they are highlighting the Ultra J Crown division. The show on the whole, I say, is an A. I loved it. The match of the night, which in turn will become the match, the nominee for the match of the week, is Smith Garrett versus Darius Lockhart. Why? Love the ending. Very good matchup. And the match is so back and forth, you didn't know who was going to actually win. You know, period. So, and I'm looking forward for Smith Garrett to get his shot. And my boy, Marcellus King. You know what I'm saying? Love me some Marcellus King. So now, let's talk about the Bull City Pro North Carolina Independent Wrestling Match of the Week on YouTube. First nominee, Peter Kaasa versus Sonjay Dutt. And then, of course, I threw in there the other match which I saw, which was match 3 of the best of 5 between King Shay Williams and Vordell Walker. And from CWF Mid-Atlantic, Smith Garrett versus Darius Lockhart. Who's the match of the week? Got to give it up to Peter Kaasa and Sonjay Dutt. That match told a story beautiful. You know, you got Sonjay Dutt, who is right now trying to climb that ladder to get a chance at the AML heavyweight champion, Caprice Coleman. Peter Kaasa, who's a part of a tag team, which is going to be in the Jim Cornette Cup, which is going to decide the AML first tag team champions. Very good matchup, very good physical matchup, back and forth, clash of styles, everything that you like as a wrestling fan. Trust me, it was a hard decision. I mean, I had to mull over it for a whole night. Even had to talk to wifey about it. But congratulations, America's Most Liked Wrestling, for having the match of the week, Peter Kaasa versus Sonjay Dutt. Take a look in the descriptions to see the links for you to watch this match. Watch this match. Leave comments. Let me know if you agree or disagree. You know, that's the beauty of America. Opinions like assholes. Everybody got one.